It's a good morning. Welcome to Friday. My name is Zenzele. And Friday is always interesting because we go to DRC 25 years ago and we bring back events that happened. It's interesting how, history that happened so many years ago, 25 years is a lot, but we talk as if they happened yesterday, and emotions and memories come alive when we go to DRC, all the interesting and the not so interesting things that happened. So by popular demand, today we decided to bring back Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert Mkandla, popularly known as Major Mkandla. Some call him the Bomb. And after the program, we got so many comments and so many, memories of people who worked with him, from Mozambique to the DRC. So we decided to say, let's call him back and sparama corrections. And thanks for your comments. And some of you were asking questions that I couldn't answer, and decided to bring back Mkandla. And by the way, another kind of set off, but not that sad thing, is that this is for the month of June. This will be the last episode. We are going to take a break and come back in July, mainly because we need to produce more programs, but we don't have all the resources to do that. So we want to go back. We want to go to Harare in July, and we are looking for people who are willing to fund part of our trip to Harare to talk to people in Harare. I've heard so many people saying they want us to talk to Colonel Piki. So if one of those people want us to talk to Piki, please contribute to the trip, and we look for him and we bring him to the show, because so many people that we've interviewed, they've talked to about Piki. And anything is going to go a long way in paying for our bus fares, our accommodation, and our upkeep in Harare. 2 or 3 days, we can come up with a number of series. If you want to contribute, you can go to the site website. You will see a button written, donate. Then you can go through the channels. You can also get in touch with me, 0773 103 262, and we can discuss. And thank you for those who are contributing to other programs that we have. Anyway, let's get started. Babu Mkandla, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Ndebeli, for calling me back to your program.
This is what we call, by popular demand, so we got a lot of comments and a lot of excitement about it, and I thought maybe we'll bring you back and talk about a few things. My first question to you is, I've watched a lot of army stuff worldwide, and there's something that I find interesting with the army, and maybe with any other thing. Music, song. What's the role of music in training, do you see?
Not in battles as such, but in training, you definitely sing. It gives you that morale to keep going. I've always found it interesting, and even during the liberation struggle, that was what kept us going. I don't know, but I think all the armies do sing. I've realized all armies sing worldwide.
Yeah, because long marches, short marches, everything. And training, it's music.
It's music, keeps you going.
So you in DRC, did you have any chances to sing at some point?
Not in the DRC. The DRC, when we did our exercises, it was when we were in the headquarters. That means far from the front. It's not possible. I don't think it's possible. I don't think with these other big armies they can even do it themselves. But maybe if these guys were back in Bandaga, where the headquarters was, they would in the morning maybe do a small jog around town and come back to the airport, and maybe they would sing. But definitely not in the front. It's not possible, because definitely will be attracting the enemy to know exactly where you are, and maybe you will be caught off guard completely, because you're alarming him with that where you are exactly.
So we talked a lot about the Battle of Moboza, but I have a friend who's is in DRC, I think, as a journalist. He told me something that I wanted to confirm. He says the Battle of Moboza was so popular that other radio stations had to broadcast it.
What I can confirm to you is after the battle, at around 4 p.m., after we'd taken over Moboza, a news team from Congo arrived there, and they took photographs of what had happened, the damage which we had done there. And the following day, I was not privy to television. I was in the bush. I was informed by people who were where there were televisions that it was being broadcast live in Congo. I think Radio TV France or something like that.
So it was really...
It was a big thing, because definitely, as I told you, that the base was so huge. The reason why I told you that when we passed through the confluence, those guys who had seen at a certain place, and they let us go, they did not hit us because they didn't want. They were instructions not to hit us because they wanted us to get inside so that they would close in. So we were going to be hit from back and forward. It was a big base because it took us, as I told you, from 4 a.m. in the morning to around 4 p.m. to take that base. It was quite a big base. And after the destruction, even Joseph came there and he said it was a job well done. That time Joseph was commander of the Congolese army.
Is he the guy who promised you the Chief Cherokees that were never delivered?
No, the Chief Cherokee just told me that if you wanted one, they said that because these guys, the guys were trained by the Koreans in Kamina, when they came to take over from me, they had a lot of those cars. So he offered, if you want one, you can take one. And then I said, no, I don't want.
But we left Chief Cherokee in the DRC.
No, this was not possible. It was not going to be possible for me to get that Jeep now. So I decided to say, no, he can stay with his car.
Yeah, so at some point, you actually talked to Joseph?
Plenty, many times. It was not the first time. I think after the 2002 elections, which I think there were 2002 elections, he visited me in Buburu. And then after some discussion, he went to see the boys and congratulated them with the president. When you say, Winnie, why are you not happy? And that's in his words what he said.
Yeah, that was. So then there's before we are going to be talking about the Battle of Lobengo today, but there's something that I find interesting with the DRC war. For the first time, I think for the ZNA, is something that really scholars would have interest in, the kind of warfare that you guys were involved in. There were no roads. The area is swampy, it's tropical. So the water became, the rivers became the battlefield.
Yes.
So it was more like a waterborne warfare.
Exactly.
How did you guys get to think of that?
Right. First, I think you must understand that in commando, do you know that the ZNA has got a boat squadron, which is based in Kariba, in Andorra Harbour. If you go there, we've got a lot of boats there. And those boats are usually used by commandos on their training and, preparing for any eventuality. In the Lake Kariba there, we have got planes. Most of them, I think, were donated by the Chinese, but we've got a fleet of boats that playing around with battle drills in the water was not the first time we've done that. We've always been doing it in the lake there in Kariba. Even the boat squadron, which patrols the Zambezi River, and they use boats. We use them.
So now, how was it different then when you get to the DRC?
The difference was using heavy artillery mounted on barges. And a lot of troops, they concentrated in one space, small space, that if anything goes wrong, definitely the damage will be terrible. But we managed the advantage was that in the Congo, these people, the Congolese, when you are traveling, they know exactly which place is habitable at this time, which place is not habitable. So definitely when you reach a certain place, they will tell you, I'll let you now be ready, anything is possible. So everybody is on a high alert. But when there's nothing wrong, they will tell you from here to this point, there is no trouble. Because the swamps will be spreading too wide that there's nobody who can hide in the swamps. Those swamps are just terrible along the Congo River. They are just massive.
So I can imagine that you needed to choose tactically. You needed a certain kind of boat, and now you have a machine gun or artillery, and everyone is firing. There's the vibration doesn't sink the boat.
No ways, because it's tied to inside the barge there. I will tell you of one time when we were attacking Moboza. One of the boats I know had a 107, a 23 millimeter mortar, and I think a beaten gun mounted in one barge, all firing at the same time. Everybody is concentrating on what he's doing. He's not worried about the noise next door because it's not good.
So if you are let's say you are the commander of that, you'll be what you are in the field. You are the commander or giving instruction.
Yes, obviously there's always one command. It's like I was trying to say, maybe look at the football team.
Yeah.
There's always one person responsible, who is the head coach. And it's better for them that when the team manager or the team coach wants to check what his opponents are like, he can look at these videos and this and that from past games to study how they play so that he drills his boys towards achieving what he wants from them. But when you look at us, you have to rely on intelligence. The intelligence, which might be correct or not correct, depends entirely. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. We're not like these big armies who might have satellite images, posted to them, which can pinpoint the enemy positions, weaponry, and so forth. So we mostly relied on intelligence, depending on where the source of information was coming from. But most of the time, you just go in there blindly, not accurately, just knowing there's somebody there who's also carrying a gun, who's interested in fighting you, but not exactly. The outcome might not be determined by intelligence you got from.
So as the commander, there's a boat maybe 30, 40 meters long. Where are you located? Are you in the same boat or you're in a boat behind?
In Moboza, I had 5 boats. Having 5 boats, I had 3 fighting boats. One is designated as a command vehicle, which was in the middle of this, because I had one boat on the left, the other one right in front, and the other one just behind me. And then the other one I designated as a casualty ward, like a hospital, so that if we get any casualties, we push them back, so that the medics would treat them without any disturbance. My boat was located in a position where I could see every activity and direct what is supposed to be done to the individual commander on the boats, because those boats will also be having individual commanders who are directly responsible to me.
So you can see your team as
it flows and this and that. We are watching everything happening.
So you guys, I would say probably after the DRC, you're expecting in waterborne warfare.
Not like the other big armies, but of course, I think we improved greatly from what we had not fought so many battles in water. It was only maybe mostly exercises on water, but there it was time to put that practice into practice, what we had learned in Kariba and so forth. But we had not fought in water.
So our audience are mainly people like me who have never been to war. We see war on TV. And there's the issue of, I've seen that in these battles, artillery plays a big role, and I've had so many mentions of the 107 mortar. And what role do these play in a battle?
The idea, in fact, let me take you back, say, that is why they say in the army, time is very, very important. Because when you're planning a battle, when it is a battle which is properly planned, remember you have more resources than just going blindly. Let's say you have your Air Force, you have your artillery, and you have got your own unit weapons. Like a company normally has an 81 millimeter mortar. So what happens is the Air Force definitely starts pounding the enemy before any movement. then after that, that's why there's timings. Then the artillery will come in, the long-range artillery. That means the forces are closing in. As the forces close in, definitely you start reducing the use of big weapons to the use of small weapons, so that the use of those big weapons cannot end up affecting your own forces. So you have to know at this time, this weapon stops firing. From this time, the Air Force stops firing. From this time, the helicopters can be close by because those are close support aircraft. But the jets definitely have to have their time, come in, do their job, they go out, the artillery comes in. The idea is to make sure the enemy keeps their heads down until the troops on the infantry run over the positions.
So if you are talking about, let's say, a 107 and an 87 millimeter mortar, what's the range for this thing?
The range, they vary. You know, like the 107 can go up to 10K, 10, 11K.
Wow.
Yeah. But you will not be seeing that, in fact, in real battle, because that's far from, what
even
you can
your
see.
binocular okay.
But when we were in the Congo, we're using them at a range that we could see the result. I know what we're doing in Moboza, it was just horrible, because we could see them. As I said, those boys used to, those shells are put on a certain, they would put them on a delayed fuse. The fuse, that means it will go down and then explode from down there, so that even the troops who were in trenches were definitely taken out.
Oh yeah, so it doesn't explode before it on impact.
It goes down. Okay. It doesn't explode on impact, it goes down. When it is on delayed fuse, then it explodes from there.
So then that gives us a picture, because I've been talking to people and they're 107 millimeter, 123 millimeter mortar, and for other people they don't understand. So let's talk about the Battle of Lobengo. This is in the northern front, is it?
Northern front, yeah.
So which rebels were controlling the northern front?
The rebels, those were the rebels of this guy, what do you call him, who was based in Uganda.
Was it Pierre Bemba?
Pierre Bemba.
Yeah.
This one was controlling that part of the region. In fact, the Battle of Lobengo did not start exactly as for me as a Battle of. It was not a Battle of Lobengo because it was Lobengo, because it was never prepared for. What really transpired was I was in Bwende by that time. Then being in Bwende, so I'd gone with Uchivima to go and support him establish himself, because there was a threat from we called it Befale axis. Uchivima, maybe commander thought maybe he needed some help, so I was thrown in there to go and help him establish himself, because there was a big threat, because the weapons which had been taken along Ubangi River were now being moved along that axis. So definitely there was a big danger. So I was called in by my commander to go there with Chivim. When I was there, because I arrived like today, the following day I was given a transport to go and check the frontline troops where exactly what was happening. When I was coming back from there, it was late, around 5, 6. But I had seen an aircraft land in Bwende, but did not see it take off again. When I arrived there, I was told, no. This aircraft is still waiting, because the commander said it must not leave this place without you. Where am I going now? He said the aircraft is going to Kinshasa. So I okay. Took my stuff, went into the aircraft, went to Kinshasa. Then when I arrived in Kinshasa, I was told your aircraft is scheduled for tomorrow from Mbandaka. The following day, I went to Mbandaka. When I arrived in Mbandaka, I was briefed by my commander that there is problem brewing along the Congo River. So please, can you go there? I said, well, Sanami command, what can you say? I went. I went there. In fact, I went by speedboat. Before I arrived there, this place called in Zambia, Malamo, I ran out of fuel. I had not reached where the troops I'm going to help, because the troops which were where I'm going to supervise were being led by a Major Mazodze and Major Peterson. And another brigade, a full brigade of the Congolese army. So I slept at Nzambe Malame, radioed them. I was with my radio operator. I radioed those people to bring me fuel. Then they said, we cannot travel at night. We'll give you petrol first thing tomorrow morning. For sure, the following day in the morning, they arrived there. They gave me fuel. I joined the rest of the units. Then I moved around trying to check what exactly was happening, how the best way of approaching with the place where the enemy was. But I was just trying to see what was happening there. Then around 10, I think, I just started giving my orders. I wrote my orders and called in everybody, the Congolese, the ZNA troops which were there, the commandos in fact. Then I gave my orders, but I decided because I was tired, I slept on the way, not comfortable. I said, no, we are not fighting today. We start fighting tomorrow. It was not Lobengo, in fact, what we were fighting, because at that time, the immediate threat was what they called Ngandapari. So I deployed all the troops nicely, waited, because I did not want to start a battle and not end it. I like starting a fight and end it. Then the following day, very early, we started fighting. We fought, but the Congo is a very big river. At its widest, it can be over 20 km.
Wow.
So that means there are a lot of islands formed within the river. That there can be a big island here with people inside, and there are other people on the other side. There's the river again, that other side of the island. It's quite a massive river. I think if you look at it in your history books or the geography books, where the Congo River pours into the Atlantic Ocean, they say a square kilometer of that water is fresh water. So you see the volume of water which goes into the Atlantic Ocean from the Congo River. So after that, we fought that other day. We managed to take out Ngandapari. After taking out Ngandapari, I was recalled to Mbandaka. Well, at least I was there. I thought everything was in order. Another a problem developed again. The troops which were deployed on the other side of the island where the command boat was started running away. So we did not know how far the troops had run away.
So these were the Congolese?
The Congolese. So when I came in, again, that is the second time now, Mazodzi again was in command. I just came in there. Then I said, okay, because when I came the second time, I came in with the guys who had pay and some rations for the Congolese. So I thought that was going to boost their morale, and then we can... Because the idea was not to fight in Lobengo. We did not plan for that. The idea was to stop them from withdrawing. So in the morning, we had this boat which was carrying rations and money. They went in the other direction, southwards, and I went northwards. I had a canoe. I talked to Mazodzi. Mazodzi also said, at last minute, in fact, we had agreed I'm the one going there to talk to these guys. Then Mazodzi said, no, I'm coming with you. But I said, listen, but if all of us get hit, what is going to happen? Then I said, okay, let's not do it again next time. I think we need to give each other chances to... Maybe he thought I was going to take the
bag.
Accolade.
Take the bag and disappear.
not beg, maybe people saying, Mkandla has done it again. Something like that.
Yeah, the what do you call it? The credit.
Credit. He thought maybe Mkandla wants to take the credit again. So I said, okay, we can go in a wooden canoe, of course, but powered by a motor. We went northwards. The island is here, then the other boat goes the other way. So as we turned to go where Lobengo was, where we were supposed to meet with these Congolese, we saw two guys in the canoe again. They were fishing, these guys. He says to me, let's go and check what they are doing. But I said, why check on those guys? We are not interested in those people. Let's go and see their bosses. Can't you see they are fishing? So what do you want to do? They are fishing. So then we agreed, we went. When we reached where the command element of these guys were, they were seated in, these huts like a gazebo, with short walls and a roof, thatched roof. So they were seated there. So Mazodze went inside. We are talking and we are telling them that, okay, now we have brought you rations. So we expect some stability to, okay, and we have got your pay. So they were busy sorting out their pay in front, on their defensive lines and sorting out rations. And were seated, some 200 meters, 100 or 200 meters behind them. And we've got the command element there. Then they brought in some food and like this. They are, cassava and, the relishes, those leaves, cassava leaves, they call it kwangwa in Pundu. And I don't like but Mazodze was, used to it. So they were busy eating. Mazodze says to me, hey, you old man, better eat here because you'll run before eating here. I took him lightly and said, well. But then he gave me some banana. I was not inside. I was seated on the wall of this gazebo. Then all of a sudden, without any warning, I heard gunshots. Initially, I thought maybe these guys were fighting by themselves because of maybe squabbles over food or money there. But when I raised my head, I saw the soldiers running away towards us. That's when I realized there was trouble. So this other boat which had brought rations, it was equipped with heavy artillery. So as soon as firing started, they started retreating, going further inside the river, which was a bad sign for me because I realized they would end up running away. So we decided, me and Masoze, to rush and jump into our canoe so that we could stop this guy from retreating. So when these guys saw us going to the canoe, definitely they thought we were running away and leaving them alone. So they jumped into this canoe and it capsized. So we had to come out again. We tried. I took up a stick trying to hit the Mazos calling me and saying, Mkandla, come back. These people, you are going to get yourself shot there. But I was trying to control the situation because there was complete chaos. Soldiers running, jumping into the water, complete chaos. So Mazoje pulled me. We jumped into the canoe again. They jumped in. We capsized 3 times before we managed to run away. Get our canoe to get out of the harbor there, and we joined the big boat, which was retreating. We jumped into the big boat and started coming back. At least now commanding the big gunners to fire and help secure that position. There was so much chaos that I realized there was no command and control at that time. It was completely out. So I decided to tell one of the commanders to say, okay, withdraw your troops completely out of that position because you are no longer in control of that position there. Let them go southwards, regroup somewhere. Then I am going to start bombing that place completely. We started bombing that place, but we realized it was not effective enough. It was up to about 12 o'clock, I think. It was around 12 o'clock. We started trying to organize these people. We failed completely. Then I realized there was no option except for me to call in the Air Force. We had some Russians who were based in Mbandaka. The new planes which had been procured by the Congolese army, but they didn't have their own pilots to fly them by then. So the Russians were responsible. I gave them the correct grid references. They started pounding that place around 1 p.m. They pounded, not for long. And then obviously the noise made by the bombs and scared away the rebels. So we started again to push the Congolese to occupy that position. I think it was we only managed to make sure at least the position is safe by around 4 or 5 o'clock, I think. But it was not really a planned battle. It's something which occurred without any warning, without knowing that the rebels were so close. That's why I was saying that intelligence works wonders if you have got the proper intelligence, but we did not have the intelligence at that time. We had seen signs, but those signs we did not realize they were rebels. Of course, the guys we saw fishing were rebels, definitely. We were lucky that they let us go through because maybe they wanted to because the idea, mostly the rebels there, they want to capture boats because they will use them in their operations also. And definitely with this one, which had rations, they would have hit a jackpot.
So I mean, people are getting a salary and they are tagged. So
They were attacked.
Someone takes the money and disappears.
Not really, did not disappear, but obviously, definitely, maybe some of it just disappeared into hands which they are supposed to have gone
And someone
to.
ends up not being paid.
It was very normal for the Congolese army not to get paid. It's up to the commander to decide to pay you or not to pay you. There's no payroll, there's no accountability. So that's what really makes the army morale so low. There's no accountability. You can find the commander with boxes of money, but the soldiers having not been paid for 2-3 months. So, and when money comes, he decides how much he wants to give you. So I think that's their biggest problem. So they are just like that. Most of those armies, they don't have a structured way of discipline.
So, I mean, I'll still go to you and say, you worked with these guys that were so untrustworthy, so unstructured. And every day your life at some point depended on them because they could have gotten you captured or something. Did you feel like at some point you were almost captured?
Not really captured, but feel threatened by, I think why I say threatened is, there were many. Those people, let's say along Congo River, as this company I was helping, they attached to them was a brigade of those people.
That's it, over 1,000?
Yeah, over 1,000. We were about less than 100, or if you're a company less than 100, mostly commando company less than 100. And you people are eating, they don't have rations. They definitely don't think they don't think you are together. They think you think you are superior or something like that. So definitely we would feel threatened. And the people who were responsible for these boats are Congolese. We did not have our own people driving those boats and this and that. So definitely.
So you can drive in the enemy line if you wanted to.
Yeah, though of course he's visible to you. He cannot do that. You can shoot him, obviously. But you feel there was this thing that they want us to help them, but they don't like us because they think we are more privileged than them in their own country. That's what I think.
Yeah. So maybe the last thing that we are going to discuss, if you have a battle, who decides that who's going to carry an AK, who's going to carry a machine gun, how many weapons? Is there a formula or Tato Ukona and whoever takes the gun that they feel comfortable?
There's what you call within a unit standing operational procedure. The SOP determines exactly who should carry what or what and this and that. And now with the Congolese conflict, you remember that a company cannot be attached with a 107 in a normal circumstance, no. That is maybe a brigade or higher level weapon. But with the situation in Congo, we could be attached with such a weapon, but it's not within our SOPs because in the commando SOPs, we don't have 107. We get them attached to us from the artillery brigade, but we don't own them. So the SOPs determine exactly who should carry what at which quantities. So we normally when commando, when you are on standby, you definitely have your 7 days ration with you, your full kit packed ready. So you don't have to, when the alarm rings there, you don't start packing rations. No. If you're on standby, definitely you're on standby. That means your rations are on the rest of the rations which are dry are on wheels. Fuel is loaded into Bowsers, water is loaded into Bowsers, so that when the siren rings, when the commanding officer or the officer commanding runs to ops room, the twice is taking the convoy to the gate, so he's only waiting for where we are going, not starting to run around. No. You always stay prepared for anything at any eventuality at any time.
But also what I see here, what you've just said, is also the collaboration between the different units. So the commandos, because they don't have the bigger weapons, so definitely need the collaboration of the artillery guys. You need Air Force. You need intelligence. So it's team effort at the end of the day.
Exactly, but remember that all the commanders, command or what, will attend same courses. So definitely everybody can do anything except they cannot be commandos because that's voluntary, but we do the same courses. So the procedures of integrating these things is the same. When you combine the armored cars, when you combine the tanks, when you combine the Air Force, everything, artillery there, so that you have to know how to do it. And that's why I was saying timing is very important. That's why, because definitely you don't want your own weapons injuring your own personnel.
Because probably you say interesting things, I'll be calling you once in a while, but maybe my last question to you will be, if you were to have another operation like the DRC and you command again, what would you do differently?
It's very difficult because the situation in Congo changes on a daily basis. If you look at what is happening, what happened to a superior force like the South Africans, how humiliated they were by the M23 rebels, ending up being escorted out of a country like, I wouldn't wonder. The situation in DRC is difficult to determine what you could do, but the situation will be determined by what is happening on the ground at that particular time. I feel sorry for our colleagues, the South Africans, but I think it was not their fault. They had too much support than they could have. We never got the support they got, I think. But they just slept and thought people will be afraid of seeing their uniforms and their fancy cars. Those guys, when you are fighting them, you really have to fight them. And you make sure you really scare them. Not a joke. I still recall one of the guys you interviewed telling you that those guys, when they come to you, sometimes they can be like a swarm of bees just, running towards you. It's possible. So if you panic, like maybe what our colleagues did, but panic and go away. Because just imagine you are right in Imese there, that's next to Central African Republic. When you run to the bush, where will you end up at the end of the day? Nowhere.
So this is where there's nowhere to run.
There's nowhere to run. So you fight, because if you don't fight, that's the end of you. You have nowhere to run to. And the support, when it comes, it can be very far, that it will not just happen simultaneously. No, it's not possible. So you just have to plan your things, be prepared for anything, and be prepared to fight.
Yeah, I think on that note, we would like to thank Col Mkandla once again for giving us his insight, and we hope we'll be inviting him here and there when we talk to people and there are things that we don't understand. Like I said at the beginning of the program, these programs are solely funded by your contributions and what you do. So please give generously so that we are able to move around, talk to people, get fuel, go to Harare, to Mutare. We want to talk to everyone who was involved in the DRC, and we can only be possible if we are able to move around and see what is going on. So we wish to have companies, individuals who are saying we can take care of your transport or your accommodation, or largest funama 1.7 millimeter lama 123 mortar to fire far and wide. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. You can get in touch with me on 0773 103 262. Thank you. Let's meet again in other programs. Moyo